That's the C major scale on the piano. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. All the white notes. C is just before the two black notes. In music theory, we turn it into numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So a C major chord is every other note of that scale. 1, 3, 5. And then that's play it together, that makes a chord. Play every other note from D, the second note of the scale, makes a 2 chord. From the third note of the scale, E, is the 3 chord. From the fourth note of the scale, F, makes a 4 chord. That's also one of the primary chords besides the 1 chord, C. Okay, F is the 4 chord. Every other note from G is the 5 chord. And then from A, 6 chord. From B, the strange diminished chord. And then back to the octave. So the primary chords are 1, C in the key of C. F major in the key of C is the 4 chord. And G is the 5 chord. So you'd hear a lot of songs go 1, 1, 4, 4, 5, 5, 4, 4, 1. That's what we call absolutely parallel harmony. We've got a 1, 3, and a 5 in C, then a 1, 3, 5 in F, then a 1, 3, 5 in G. So it's not so creative and not so smooth in a way, but so in classical music theory and in jazz and other kinds of music, often you want to have your voices from the different chords lead into the next chord a little more smoothly. This is what we call voice leading. So in the case of C major, with the root on the bottom, 1, 3, 5, instead of going up to 1, 3, 5, we can take the 5 and keep it down here, a C. And we've got the 1 and the 3 in F and A note, but we keep the C. So now it's a much smoother transition from C, what we call the root position, with the root on the bottom, to the F chord with the 5th of 1, 3, 5, the 5th of F on the bottom. We call this second inversion, by the way. When we have a chord with the 3rd on the bottom, say we take a C chord, this is root position. If I put the 3rd on the bottom, 3, 5, 1, we call this first inversion. And with the 5th on the bottom, 5, 5, 1, 3, that's second inversion. So we've got a root position C chord, an F chord with the 5th on the bottom. So we're pivoting on the C note. The C doesn't change. We've got 1, 3, 5 in C. We've got 5, 1, 3 in F. And then we could go up to the root position G chord. But if we do a first inversion G chord with the 3rd on the bottom, here's G down here. If we take this root and move it up here, now we've got 3, 5, 1 in G. And now, in relation to the C chord, we're pivoting on this G note, the 5th of C, 1, 3, 5, becomes the root of G. 1, 5, 3, with the 3 on the bottom. So we call this the common tone between C and G. So to play 1, 4, 5, the three primary chords in C here, we've got a root position C chord, an F chord with the fifth on the bottom, and then a G chord with the third on the bottom. So that sounds a lot of times a lot nicer than just parallel harmony. Now we can do this. So that's more what we call a classical style voice leading, and often creates something a bit more pleasing to the ear. But it's up to you. In rock and roll, it's kind of a crude form of music to a lot of people. You might want to do that parallel voice leading or progression, but 1, 4, 1, 5, 1 are the chords. Now if we put the third of the C on the bottom, a first inversion C chord, now we can go to this F chord with the root on the bottom, 1, 2, 5, in F, as the closest chord. And now it's this C note here we're pivoting on. C chord, F chord. These two voices move up, but this voice stays the same. And then we can use this G chord, keeping our hand in the same area. Similar to the guitar, you keep your hand in the same area and you end up with the nicer voice leading usually. So in this area we've got first inversion C, root position F, and now a G chord with the fifth on the bottom, which is second inversion G chord. So then, in the same way, we can exhaust all the possibilities. We did the root position C, starting next with the third on the bottom. This time we're going to start with the fifth on the bottom. So in C, 5, 1, 3 would be the scale degrees. Now the closest F notes would be a first inversion F with the third of an F major on the bottom. This time we're pivoting on this C note, and these two voices are moving, the two outside voices. So we get this 1 chord, 4 chord, and now for a 5 chord we can do this. 1, 3, 5, root position G chord. So again, we've got second inversion C chord with the fifth on the bottom, first inversion F chord with the third of F major on the bottom, and then root position G chord, like this. So that's the principle of pivoting primary chords.